In 1800, barely 1 million people lived west of the Allegheny Mountains, but within 30 years, this region held some 3.5 million people, nearly a quarter of the total population. Travel by road was difficult and more than 30 times more expensive than flat water canal transport. Commencement of work on the Erie Canal in 1817 started a serious investigation into all canal routes between Washington and the Ohio River's link with the Mississippi. The canal era reached its peak in 1850 with some 4,000 miles of canals. On July 4, 1828, John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, turned the first shovelful of dirt on the canal, which was celebrated with quite a bit of pomp and circumstance. President Adams gave a famous speech comparing the new canal to the pyramids of Egypt. On that same day, however, construction of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad began in Baltimore, Maryland. Although the railroad beat the canal to Cumberland, Maryland, the railroads had a long climb to develop the infrastructure necessary for carrying large loads of freight efficiently. So the canal continued to be useful until 1924. All right, here we are this morning. We're going to take probably one of the most famous pieces of the C&O Canal Trail, I think, and we're starting, what's this behind us, Randy?
The Great Falls Visitor Center and Tavern, Old Tavern.
And we're going to go down to Widewaters and up to a couple of locks and, of course, see Great Falls. Although it looks more like a lake, Widewater is part of the Potomac River's historic path. Over time, as the river started to cut the Great Falls, it abandoned many of its channels. By the time the canal was to be built, the river was comfortably situated where it is today, and canal engineers decided to use the old riverbed as part of the canal to save on the effort of carving through more rock. Lock 15 is the first of 6 locks to lift the canal 50 feet in elevation so the Great Falls can be bypassed by the boats. The last of the locks is Lock 20 at Great Falls Tavern. They're all within 0.8 of a mile of each other. All locks had a bypass flume that allowed the water to flow around the lock and reduce pressure on the lock gates, but today many are hard to spot. Between Lock 16 and Lock 17 is what looks like a covered bridge. But this is a winch house, a building used to store an actual winch and planks of woods that are just a little wider than the foundation. So when the river is on the verge of flooding, a temporary dam or stop gate can be built by using the winch to lower the planks one by one through the floor and into the grooves that have been cut into both sides of the stone foundation. Some water gets through, but the majority is stopped from rushing downstream into the canal and causing damage. After the danger passes, They pull the planks back up and allow the water to flow once again. Did you know that Leonardo da Vinci, the Italian artist and inventor, created the design for the lock gates that are used throughout this era? Canal boat rides are available in the season, but this clearly wasn't the season yet. Here's what it looks like when it is in the water. Heading west from the Great Falls Tavern, the trail was a weird, gravelly, rocky, and we weren't very excited about it, and it was good that this didn't last for very long. Lock 21 is still used today. Park staff will open and close the wickets on a daily basis to adjust the water level downstream so the mule-pulled canal boat can operate. Also, you can stay in that lockhouse. The C&O Canal operated between Cumberland, Maryland and Washington, D.C. for 74 years. In 1889, a flood destroyed the canal, forcing the canal company into bankruptcy. Then the B&O Railroad took over receivership of the canal and operated it until 1924, when it was destroyed by another flood and then abandoned. Fortunately, the federal government acquired the canal in 1938 for $2 million and placed it under the National Park Service, so we can all enjoy it today. Lock 23, or Violet's Lock, which was named for the last lock tender to work this lock, is one half regular lock and the other half lock that serves to fill the canal down to Georgetown. Seneca Aqueduct and Lock 24 are combined into a single structure here. It's the only place along the canal this was necessary. The Seneca Aqueduct was the first structure to be built on the canal, and it's also the only red sandstone aqueduct. It's built with the same stone used to build the Smithsonian Castle on the National Mall. Well, this aqueduct certainly needs a little bit of work to get it back to its original state. This upstream arch collapsed in a flood in 1971, and they put this bridge to span the gap. Oh, well, you know, that guy had a big turtle.
I didn't see that.
The guy was, that's why he was in the middle of the road. He was herding a turtle.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, that's the end of our adventure. We hope to see you on the next adventure soon.